And Village Board, you are live.
All right, thank you, everybody, for coming. Today is December 16th, 2022. Welcome to East Hampton Village Board meeting. This will be our last meeting of 2022, so it's amazing that it's already over. So if I could ask everybody to stand for a pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could just ask you all just to stay standing, just for a moment, to remember Katie Babcock, who passed away. She was 98 years old. She served the village back in 1967 till I think 79. I think I might have the dates a little wrong, but great lady. Was actually my crossing guard in third grade. So she was also a police jail attendant for us for a lot of years. So we honor her today, and we wish her family the best. But 98 is certainly a good age. So, all right, thank you. Everybody be seated. So we're going to move the agenda around a little bit today because we have some swearing in we'd like to do, and we asked the fire chiefs to come because when the fire chiefs took office last year, I believe we were in COVID and we couldn't have in-person meetings. So we thought it would be nice to actually have them sworn in officially and have the families here. And we also have two new ambulance chiefs that'll be taking office on January 1st, and we're very excited about that. So we've asked Mary Mott and Mary Ellen McGuire to come here and all be sworn in together. So if I could ask our village clerk and fire chiefs and new ambulance chiefs to step up to the podium, we'll do the swearing in now. Thank you, Pam.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, and I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of
First Assistant Chief Engineer.
according to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Go back to your business. Wish it.
I get to say squish. My favorite word, squish is my favorite.
So far, so good. Figure out some computer stuff. Various messages.
Thanks, everybody. All right, thank you, everybody. And the families that were here, thanks for coming. Just give everybody a chance to leave, and then we'll get into the meeting. All right, so I'm just going to go, while we're waiting, I have some announcements to make, so we'll just go over some of the announcements. This past weekend was a terrific amount of fun. I'm sure you all saw it in the East Hampton Star and the East Hampton Press and Dan's papers. We had Santa arrive by helicopter, which was a huge, huge hit in the park. I think we had somewhere, at least hundreds and hundreds of children were there, and you can see their faces on the in the Star. And I mean, it's just amazing. It was an amazing feeling just to see the kids having so much fun. So I just wanted to thank everybody who was involved in organizing that and putting that together. It was a lot of work, but it was really worth it and a lot of fun. And I think the community really enjoyed it. So we're going to say goodbye to our village attorney today. It's his last meeting, Vincent Messina. And if you don't know, he was elected to Supreme Court judge, surrogate court in Suffolk County. So he's now Judge Messina. So we're going to miss him. He's been with us since the beginning, and he's been a terrific sounding board and such a professional. So I want to thank Vinny for all his service to the village.
Thank you. Thank you for the privilege of serving. Especially after 2 o'clock.
There he is with his robe. Very nice. Very nice.
That's a good picture.
Oh, boy. Nice.
So Vinny brings us nice treats every week. So again, we're very proud of our village attorney for this great honor he'll have for the next 10 years being judge in the surrogates court in the county. So thanks again, Vinny, for everything.
And many times as I've been invited to come back into government in my career, and I did it this time. I wasn't sure about it, but Mr. Mayor was just outstanding serving with you and with Marcos and with the board. And you have a great group of professionals here, and it's one of the best places I've ever served.
Thank you very much, Vinny. And we welcome, obviously, Lisa Perillo, who's taking over.
You're trading up.
All right. So as promised, we all know that our chief of police will be retiring in September. So we have a collection of photographs and embarrassing moments that we will display each board meeting to embarrass him as much as possible. This was when he first started out last year as custodian, and he's doing a great job.
I'm not at liberty to discuss this at this time, and I don't believe that's me. Photo's been doctored, and that's all I have to say.
Is that an undercover operation?
Yeah.
You have to make sure you tune in because these are only going to get more embarrassing as we go. So,
Glad I'm leaving now.
Mike and I have been together for close to 40 years now, so I have a lot of photographs of him in very different situations.
Both ways. So,
If you don't have access to the video. All right, here we go. Santa. Oh, I want to announce we have the menorah lighting on December 18th at 3:30 p.m. at the Hook Mill. And again, on December 19th for the second night of Hanukkah at 5 p.m. So we're looking forward to everybody to come out to that. We have the Polar Bear Plunge on January 1st, headed up by our beach manager, Drew Smith. Registration starts at 11. It's a $40 donation, and all donations go to the food pantry. So that's a really popular event up at Main Beach. So hopefully everybody can get up there. Last year, I think it was over and people were still arriving. So come early. All right, June, can we do a roll call?
Sure. Mayor Jerry Larson,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Chris Minardi is out. Trustee Carrie Doyle. Here. Trustee Sarah Amadin. Here. Trustee Sandra Melendez is out. Administrator Marco Balladron.
Here.
Village Attorney Lisa Perillo and Vincent Messina.
Here. Thank you.
All right. So first up would be Hugh, our village historian, who's going to speak about one of our former mayors.
Samuel Gregory is the topic today, but first I have a couple of things to say. The village attorney, Mr. Messina, is in, and the present village attorney are in the office that Lyman Beecher had when he lived in that house. And that's where he wrote his sermons. So now Mr. Messina will be giving his sermons from the bench. And the other thing is Katie Babcock, I believe, is the first woman to have her name on a building in the village of East Hampton. She may be the only woman who has her name on the village. All right. Home Sweet Home had over 600 people attend this year. They came from 18 different countries, from France, Australia, London, Kyiv, Bolivia, Denmark, Honduras, and it goes on and on and on. And over half of the states of the United States have visitors come to Home Sweet Home. Why am I talking about that? Because Samuel Gregory, the mayor who we're going to honor today, was a huge proponent of Home Sweet Home. He was born in England. He came to East Hampton. He owned a store on Main Street. Unfortunately, the store burned down. But in 1897, his store had the first gramophone and phonograph in the village of East Hampton. He was a strong proponent of zoning. He thought the natural resources of the village should be cherished and played a major role in the development of zoning, planning, and preservation. He worked to prevent a hotel from being built at the corner of Lily Pond Lane and Ocean Avenue. Can you imagine that? He fought a move to sell the contents of Home Sweet Home to pay for the purchase of the house. After Home Sweet Home was purchased by the village, there was a movement to sell the contents of the house in order to pay for the bonds, okay? Before the vote was taken, there was a huge meeting at the Edwards Theater, and Samuel Gregory and lawyer Harry Stevens were there, pushed the people to purchase Home Sweet Home. He also wrote a letter to the nephew of John Howard Payne, who wrote to the village and said, "Why are you buying that house? My uncle was never born in the house. He never lived there." And Samuel Gregory said, "We don't care. We're buying it anyway." Okay, now the house cost $60,000 in 1927. That was a huge investment for the village, and Samuel Gregory was an important part of that. He was the only mayor to be called the president and the mayor of the village. The first two leaders of the village were called the president, Jonathan Baker and Nelson Osborne. Samuel Gregory was called the president, and then they changed the name to mayor. When he died, the merchants closed all their businesses on Main Street between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Schools were closed on the Monday afternoon of his funeral. Flags were flown at half mast. And before he died, there was a testimonial dinner at the Oaks Inn with 150 of his favorite friends there. He lived on North Main Street, 3 doors down, maybe on the left from Dr. Edwards's house. Dr. Edwards's house is that white house right near the mill, and Gregory lived down the street 3 doors. So the sign will be going on the North Main Street sign. I hope there's one there, and that's where Superintendent Collins will be putting the sign. And it's so important that Guildhall is here today, because had Samuel Gregory lived, he would have been an ardent supporter of Guildhall, which was built down the street in 1931. And finally, in the Guildhall Theater, or in Guildhall, there's the John Drew Theater. Well, John Drew was an ardent supporter of the East Hampton Fire Department, and he was invited to the fire department dinner down at Lee's Pavilion on 3 Mile Harbor, and he spoke. So he was an honorary member almost of the fire department. And finally, the Lee's Pavilion burned down, but that wasn't the fire department's fault. Okay.
Thank you, Hugh. So we have a proclamation in honor of Mayor Gregory. If June could read that.
Whereas Samuel Gregory served as both the president and the mayor of the village of East Hampton from 1925 to 1930, and was a staunch supporter of the purchase and preservation of Home Sweet Home and the contents therein. Whereas a strong proponent for zoning, Samuel believed the natural resources of the village should be cherished, and he played a major role in the development of zoning, planning, and preservation, and worked tirelessly with the Ladies Village Improvement Society and the Lions Club to make the village one of the most beautiful in America. Now, therefore, I, Jerry Larson, Mayor of the Village of East Hampton, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the residents of the Incorporated Village of East Hampton, do hereby proclaim that the corner of North Main Street and Panago Road shall bear the honorary name, Honorary Samuel Gregory.
Thank you very much. Normally, we have family of the mayor, but I don't think, Hugh, you could find anybody that was around. Right. So that sign will be going up when, Dave? Monday. So that'll be nice. And then how many mayors do we have left to honor? Just 2. Terrific. Thanks, Hugh. All right, next up is a presentation from Guildhall, Christina Strassfield. And this is exciting. This is about art in the park, which we started as a pilot program last fall. And we want to continue it.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting us here. My name is Christina Strassel. I'm the museum director and chief curator of Guildhall. I've been there for 29 years. I'll be there for another 10 days. And that's why I have Stephanie Miller, who's the museum registrar and exhibition coordinator here. Andrea Grover, our executive director, unfortunately could not be here today. We were asked to help with art in the park, and we were delighted because art inspires life. Art really enhances everyone's life, and public art is really a service to the community at large. So we are really thrilled to be involved with this. I was hoping today that I would be able to show you a piece of art that would be able to be the one that we want to put in the park. But unfortunately, we're working with a foundation. This is a world-class foundation, internationally recognized artist who was part of the town of East Hampton. So it's clearly linked with the town of East Hampton. When you're dealing with a foundation like this, there are a lot of different issues. The sculpture was originally scheduled to go somewhere else, and they're trying to divert it so that it comes to East Hampton and will be here. I have to tell you that I'm very, very excited about this opportunity because I feel that it will gain tremendous recognition. It'll be part of our community and it'll be celebrated by everyone in the community because it'll be a piece of artwork that is renowned and really someone that deserves all the recognition and has received it, but will be receiving it from the community at large. I hope that we'll hopefully by the end of this year or by the beginning of next year to confirm this. And I truly believe it's going to happen. If it does not happen, there's a whole series of other artists and foundations that we've reached out to as secondary levels. But again, I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I truly believe that this is the one that deserves to be here and that should be here. I do want to thank the mayor and this administration for the support for public art and for art in general. Our Swept Away this summer at the beach, I had over 700 people there, the community involved, visitors who were just walking by, who were engaged with being with the art. So I was someone who was inspired by art when I was 5 years old and I first went to a museum. And I think that having public art, especially in Herrick Park, where there's children, there's community, there's families, is really going to engage everyone. And hopefully future curators and patrons of the arts and collectors will be inspired by that.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very good. And I wish you a lot of success wherever you're going.
Southampton Art Center, just 13 miles down the road.
Oh, good, good, good. So that's great. You've been so terrific to work with, and I just want to thank you and wish you nothing but the best. And welcome to the new curator. So
Thank you so
you
much.
very much. And we look forward to this. So hopefully we get some news soon.
Absolutely.
Great. All right, next up is Nick Bono from H2M. He's going to be talking to us about the sewer.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So we kind of got engaged through Billy Haychak. He had called us up, was asking some questions. I know the village has done some prior efforts in evaluating water quality issues. And the focus of what we were asked to do was to evaluate the feasibility of locating central treatment on two different properties, one of them being 29 King Street and the other one being the current DPW property up on Accabonac Lane. So essentially what we look at when we do this is we need to know, what are you looking to treat? How much flow are you looking to treat? That was identified by others. So we were targeting about 75,000 gallon a day flow rate. We were looking at standard loading rates, which are customary. And the reason why I'm getting into that level of detail is to let you know that it plays a factor into the footprint and the area requirements. So as we dug in and we looked at both sites, this is the King Street site. We had to factor in different setback requirements by code. And there were a litany of other items that we dug into. And I am going to push it over to Casey Bloomberg from my office. She really dug in and did the nitty gritty on it. And then I'll follow up with some closing remarks on where we ended.
Hi, my name is Casey Bloomberg. I'm a project engineer that worked on this project. So some of the regulatory requirements that we looked into was the New York State DEC, 10 state standards, as well as Suffolk County Department of Health Services. The figure you see here identifies the 29 King Street site. And then per Suffolk County standards, there's setback distances that are required for a sewage treatment plant enclosed in a building, as well as the leaching pools to discharge the effluent to the groundwater. So based on this site and the setbacks required by health services, there is not enough area to site an STP there without a variance from health services. The other site, 172 Accabonac Road, which is the next figure, does offer availability for a sewage treatment plant. I believe there's 1.7 acres available based on the setbacks and about 9 acres for bleaching pools. So based on Suffolk County standards, the 172 Accabonac is a more feasible site strictly based on that. We also took into account, we did a critical issues analysis to identify any environmental factors that could potentially affect the siting of a sewage treatment plant. So that include endangered species, archaeological buffer areas, and groundwater. So those are all present at both of those sites, and will just need to be reviewed further. We also identified 3 treatment plant processes that have been previously approved by DEC and health services. That includes the BEST system, the SBR, and the MBR. So we did not go into a detailed design of which would be better for these sites, but these are approved treatment processes that have been used throughout Suffolk County.
Next
So
slide.
based on, sure.
Yeah, and I'm just sorry, I apologize, it's throwing us off here with the way the figures are coming up a little bit, but not to jump in and take back over. This is the Accabonac site, that diagonally hatched area in the middle of the property is really the available acreage Casey was alluding to that we've identified to be suitable to site treatment and disposal facilities. Well, treatment facilities. The larger diagonal hatched area is showing everywhere that you potentially could put leaching, although you wouldn't do it in areas that are already improved upon. This is just showing that within the property itself, you can meet the required setback distances if you were to look to put a facility on that site to treat the sewage at the rate that we were looking at, which was 75,000 gallons a day. If you could back up to the prior image, what this is showing here is it's assuming that there's a variance where we can get relief from setbacks because you do front the railroad tracks there. It has recently been brought to our attention. It looks like the green space to the top of the page to the north of that property that we're showing, I believe is village-owned property used for drainage. And I know the property to the west is currently agricultural use. It hasn't been purchased. The development rights haven't been purchased to preserve it. However, if that does happen, you potentially could get relief from setbacks there, which would then make this site more viable as opposed to trying to land within all the setback requirements. You know, Casey did kind of allude to treatment process technologies, and the reason why that's important for this is, you know, it's an uphill battle as it is trying to plan a project like this and trying to move forward. You do want to land yourself with a technology that's proper for the application, something that's approvable, something that people can operate, maintain, something that is well-known and well-tried and tested. So we evaluated 3 that are used significantly throughout Suffolk County for issues such as this. And what you see there is that hatched area in the middle, basically assuming a variance or assuming a relief on setback from the train tracks. It kind of gives you that space to site a treatment facility, which is tight. And when we did evaluate the technologies, there are pros and cons associated with each one. There is one that lends itself to smaller footprints. However, there's a cost that you have to pay for that. And that would be the one that would probably be more appropriate for this site. But as she indicated, you know, we did critical issues evaluation, which is a precursor to SECRA. There's a lot of there's a lot of assessment that needs to go on if you truly do decide to move forward. It's not just environmental impacts, it's community impacts, traffic impacts. There's a litany of things that you really need to do proper planning on. Our focus was, can you physically place a treatment facility and recharge on each property? As we drilled down to it further, we really believe that it seemed more appropriate out of the two options that we looked at was putting something on the DPW property, just because it had natural buffer space, it had adequate area, and currently it's used for village purposes. You have vehicle traffic into and out of it, as opposed to this site. You know, I think it would result in a larger impact, probably more pushback from the surrounding community. But again, those are things that would have to be evaluated as you move forward with a plan of this nature. So really the next steps for the village, because this was such a high level assessment, would be to discuss truly, is the service area that we base the flow on truly the service area? What is the ultimate goal? You know, I understand that it's to improve water quality, and it's really just to take another look to ensure, is that truly what it is? And if it is, are we really targeting the right uses to really get the biggest benefit of water quality improvement? And that's important. It plays a factor, especially as you try and move forward. Grants become all the more important. And to get rated high for grants, you want to show that you're really putting a proper plan in place to get the biggest benefit for the dollar value. As far as dollar value goes, just to construct a treatment facility of this size on these sites, we did a really high level valuation. And I think we're landing somewhere in the $11-12 million range. And that's really just to construct a facility to treat the water. It doesn't account for the pipes and the pumps to convey the water from the point of origin to the point of treatment. Doesn't account for the planning efforts. It doesn't account for the design efforts to put documents together that are approvable so you can bid and go to construction for something like this. So these projects are costly. They do take time to properly plan. And, you know, really the next steps to move forward, if the village were to move forward, would be to engage a consultant to help assist with the map and plan. And that really is the initial step that you take when you want to legally form an improvement district, such as the one that you're looking to, you know, to evaluate and move further with.
All right. Anybody have any questions?
Nick, I had one question.
Yeah.
In terms of expandability, if the village sought to expand the district that we currently have targeted to include more surface area and more flow, could either of those sites accommodate more flow?
Well, based on what we looked at, the DPW site definitely has more area to accommodate more flow. If you're looking at expandability, that's something, like I said, when you're putting a map plan together to evaluate this, especially for a village, the way it works is it's a village sewer system. So it's not, you don't have a separate core of benefited properties. The benefit is to the entire village, which is a little different than, you know, town and county law. But when you evaluate that, you do need to work it into your plan on, all right, we're doing a village sewer system. What is our ultimate goal? With the understanding that you're going to have to phase it. You can't bite it all off at once. You gotta start somewhere, and where you start is really it's a discussion. It's iterative, and it comes down to cost benefit and what is the affordability to move forward relative to the benefit.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
So just some comments for the public, so you know what's happening. This process was started by the previous board, and then when we came in, we continued the process, and we are finding it difficult to find a location within the village to house this plant, if you will. So we asked H2M to look at the two sites that we have narrowed down to being the most viable. The one on King Street, however, is not our property, so we would have to acquire that property first. And the Acavonic property is our property, so it looks like we're leaning more towards Acavonic because we did have brief discussions with the King Street owner, and I'm not sure he's interested in selling to us. So, and if he is, I don't know if it's affordable. So, and the last thing I would do would be to condemn a property for a project like this. So I wouldn't want anyone to think that that would happen. So we do have our highway department, and that's probably going to be the most viable. At the same time, we have another track going where we hired another company to look at placing a non-conventional system under the parking lot in the long-term lot. And that still has some teeth, I guess. And, but we wanted to start this track as well in case that one fails. So we do have a meeting later this month with that track, and we'll see what the county and the DEC have to say about that. That, I think, would be the most logical place to put it if we can do it, is under the parking lot in the long-term lot. But it's really unknown if we can do it until we get approvals from the county and the state. So we have both those things going, and it's starting to look more and more like the highway department. But we'll just have to keep moving forward, and we'll see where we end up. So I thank you both for putting in that time and getting that done for us. Is there any other questions about that? Anybody? No? All right. So next June, we're up to public hearings.
Okay, introductory number 5, 2022, a local law amending section 278-1 definitions, non-conforming buildings, and section 278-3 area setbacks and height regulations of the zoning code with respect to pickleball courts and tennis courts.
All right. Is there anyone who would like to be heard?
Hello, my name is Peter Rickenbach. I'm a paralegal at the law firm Ackerman Partners, and I'm speaking on behalf of a letter from Mr. Ackerman regarding the local law. Dear Mayor Larson and members of the board, I am writing to ask you that you revise the proposed local law addressing pickleball courts before adopting the proposed legislation. The proposed local law does far more than regulate pickleball courts. Now, for the first time, there will be a minimum acreage requirement of 60,000 square feet for installation of a tennis court, and all tennis courts will have to be sunken by at least 4 feet from natural grade. This makes the proposed law far more restrictive than the Sagaponic legislation on which it was modeled, which imposes no new restrictions on tennis courts, but only on pickleball courts if they are constructed by modifying an existing tennis court. The new proposed restrictions on tennis courts are onerous and are far more restrictive than the current code. We question why any more restrictions on tennis courts are needed. More than 5 years ago, in March of 2017, the village adopted a code change that doubled the setback for playing courts of all kinds and swimming pools. We are aware of no complaints concerning tennis courts by neighbors, and none were mentioned in the discussion that occurred at the work session when this law was discussed. Judging by the discussion that took place at the board's work session, the restrictions on tennis courts were included as a preemptive measure to address conversion of tennis courts to pickleball courts. As a practical matter, there is no reason to have such a preemptive measure. The issue with pickleball courts is that they are noisy neighbors. If there is an illegal conversion of a tennis court to a pickleball court, neighbors are sure to complain, giving the village ample opportunity to enforce the pickleball court restrictions. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Anyone else? Board? Anybody?
I will just say that I have actually received, and Tom Prieto knows this, some complaints about tennis courts, neighbors, that they were legal, but they are, especially with COVID, they're getting active use all day long, and neighbors are finding them unable to sit outside in their backyards because there's constant use of a tennis court next to them. So, you know, not everybody wants to go on the record, but we do get complaints from people. So that has been a consideration in terms of the tennis courts.
Anyone else? All right, we're going to leave the hearing open for another month. I ask anybody out there who wants to send in emails or would like to show up at the next hearing, please do so. So can I get a motion just to keep that open?
So moved. Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that hearing is continued till next time, and which will be January 20th. All right, next public hearing?
Introductory number 6, 2022. An amendment to section 267-1A vehicle and traffic speed limits to set a speed limit of 25 miles per hour on village roadways. A, no person shall operate a motor vehicle or motorcycle on any public highway within the corporate limits of the village of East Hampton, with the exception of the territory on Montauk Highway, which as posted varies from 50 to 40 to 30 in various locations, and the public highways listed in 267-1 C, D, E, and F, which as posted varies from 20 to 15 miles per hour at a rate of speed in excess of 25 miles per hour.
All right, anyone like to be heard on this?
Hi, Gloria Frazee. This is such a great direction because the traffic on our roads, as we all know, is really, really dangerous. And I think this is a really great first step. I would hope that there's continued work on traffic calming because people have a very difficult time reading road signs. I was putting up my Christmas lights yesterday, a little late on Cheryl Road, and it didn't take me very long. I don't put up that many lights, but just in that time period, 5 or 6 cars went by at crazy rates of speed. And there's a 10-mile-an-hour speed decrease there. First off, they don't see the 25. They certainly don't see the 10, which brings me to another point. I want to make sure that there are a number of blind curves in the village, as on Cheryl Road and on Gingerbread Lane, where the speed limit does go down to 10. I want to make sure that's covered in this language because I only saw 15 to 20 as a decrease. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
A great direction.
Yeah, those yellow signs that are put up for dangerous situations will not be changed. That would stay the same.
Great. I do also want to say that how important the traffic calming is. Just this past summer, I was coming down Cheryl onto Newtown, stopped to let a family group in the crosswalk there. And they were in two different families or 3 families, clumps with kids. I'm stopped and someone whips around the curve and barely pauses and came very close to causing a disaster in that corner. So it's really, really important to do education and some sort of traffic calming because this is not okay.
I agree.
Right.
I agree with you. And I know the police chief agrees with you. And, we don't have enough police to be everywhere all the time. And unfortunately, our side roads and back roads are being used as bypasses because Montauk Highway is such a mess. So with rush hour traffic. And so people are trying to bypass the main road and speeding through our little neighborhoods. So we all agree with that. And we received a lot of complaints over the summer. And the only way we can actually do this legislation is thanks to Fred Thiel, who was able to get it passed up in Albany. So I can't imagine anybody objecting to it, but nothing would surprise me. But is there anyone else who would like to speak on the subject? All right, so we're going to keep it open for another month. It'll be again for January 20th. We encourage anybody who has a feeling on this to send in an email or show up in person. So can I get a motion to extend it to next
So moved.
month?
So second.
All right, all in favor? Passed and adjourned or tabled. Do we have anybody here for public comment not related to the agenda? Is there anything or related to the agenda, but not the public hearings? Anyone? What's that?
I have copies if you'd like one.
It's available usually online.
All right. If after you review it, if you have a comment or something you'd like to say, just let me know. All right, next up is motions and resolutions. June,
Resolution number 296, approve claim vouchers for the month of November.
So moved. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
297, approve warrants as listed.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
298, approve budget transfer schedule number 2, reference number 2 dated December 2022.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
299, approve minutes for meetings held on November 3rd, November 18th, and December 1st.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
300, approve departmental reports.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
301, approve authorization to open a dime bank checking account and New York class interest-bearing account from Ameriflex Dental and Eye HRA benefits.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
302, approve fire department Hartford Life and Accident Insurance Plan, cost not to exceed 25,000.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
303, approve 2023 agreement with Circuit Transit Incorporated, and that was previously Hampton's Free Ride.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
304, approve $700 fee for non-resident beach parking permits as per section 267-5C for the 2023 season.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
305, approve modification of building permit fee structure as per Tom Priato's December 8th memo.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
306, approve enrollment for Matthew McPherson to attend a commercial driver license training at Precision Driving School course $1,990 as per Dave Collins' November 17th memo.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
307, deem surplus and approve the disposal online auction sale of the following items: a 2003 Chevy 3500 dump truck with plow, a 2003 Ford E450 flatbed dump truck salt spreader, and 35 unclaimed shopping carts.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
308, accept the low bid for 2022-2023 season annual request of snow removal rates per hour from Bistrian Material Inc. for 4 village streets and 5 village parking lots.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
309, notice to bidders for the following Department of Public Works bids: Herrick Park public bathroom cleaning, sidewalks, and curbs and aprons.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
310, adopt updated conditions of employment policy as per the December 8th memo from Dominique Cummings.
So moved. Second.
Passed and carried.
311, approve ambulance association membership changes as listed. Resignation of Tamara Espinoza, Donna Collins to exempt status, and Sandra Vorpal to exempt status.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. Just like to thank them for their service. I personally know Sandra has been in service for a long time, so we thank her for all of her time, and actually all 3 members. We appreciate everything they've done for the village.
312, appoint Catherine Davis to the Design Review Board, term to expire on December 31st, 2024, and appoint Dennis Lemonius to the Planning Board, term to expire on December 31st, 2027.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried, and welcome to both of them, and we thank them for stepping up to do this job.
313, authorize the appointment of Perillo and Hill, Lisa Perillo, as village attorney at an annual sum of $100,000 effective January 1st, 2023.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. Thank you, Lisa.
314, promote Kim Priato to the position of secretary to the fire marshal and ambulance chiefs with an increase of an annual salary of $4,000 effective January 1st.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. Thank you, Kim.
315, create the position of secretary to the planning board.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
316, approve appointment of Gabrielle McKay to the position of secretary to the planning board at the annual starting salary of $55,000 effective January 1st.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
317, approve appointment of Marissa Cangelosi to the position of secretary to the mayor at the annual starting salary of $55,000 effective January 1st.
So moved.
All
Second.
in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. And I welcome both Marissa and Gabby to the village. They're going to be a great addition.
318, accept custodial worker 3, facilities manager Frederick Verity's retirement effective January 31st, 2023.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Passed and carried. Fred has been an employee for 28 years. We wish him the best in retirement, and maybe at the next meeting, we can have him here to say our goodbyes.
319, accept resignation of Joseph Yurkowicz as an employee of the Department of Public Works with $5,335.87 payout effective November 15th.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 320, authorize employment termination of Kyle Vorpal and approve the $500 payout for accumulated time.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 321, notice for public hearing to be held January 20th at 11 a.m. at the Emergency Service Building, 1 Cedar Street for introductory number 7, 2022, a proposed local law amending the designation of Mill Road as a one-way street and stop streets at Mill Road and James Lane.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So that hearing is now scheduled. We have one more last-minute resolution. I'll let Billy tell us about it.
Oh, I don't know what it is. I don't have that on my, it wasn't on my agenda.
It's a resolution to schedule a public hearing.
This is the road abandonment. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It wasn't on my copy of the agenda. So this is a request from multiple property owners on Spaeth Lane to abandon portions of the unused or unimproved roadway at the end or termination of Spaeth Lane. Essentially, it's property that will never, most likely never be improved. And the design has been created so that an emergency turnaround could be installed. And then the adjoining areas would be abandoned and incorporated into the 4 adjacent lots, which were all part of the map when the sub properties were all subdivided. So we've, met with the multiple property owners representative. We've worked out this design, and we think it accomplishes multiple objectives that are beneficial for the village and for the applicants. So
Great. We just have to wait for Trustee Doyle to come back, and then we can. Yes. I tell you, we Deputy Mayor Minardi is out sick. Sandra's dad died, and she's in Puerto Rico. Sarah was sick till the other day. Carrie was. I didn't know if we were going to have a meeting, so just bear with us a couple of minutes until hopefully Carrie comes back. Does anybody want to? I just need you to step up, just for LTV.
State your name.
Just need your name and your.
I'm Martha McCulley. I've been a village resident for 26 years, and I was told by someone in Village Hall that you were going to be discussing the lifeguard situation on Wyborg Beach today.
No, not till January.
The survey results.
The survey results, and then also I just wanted to hear about the difference between the health department and an environmental review.
I can take a stab at it. Sure.
Yeah, we have.
So, well, the village has been considering putting lifeguards at Wyborg Beach as a prerequisite of having lifeguards. The county has a requirement to provide public restroom facilities. So you can't have a guarded beach without public restroom facilities. So the village has been engaged with the village engineer to install bathroom facilities at that spot. It's a very simple, small building, which basically provides one men's room and one women's room and a small area of storage for lifeguard equipment and apparatus. I believe the application is pending with the county health department right now. And I don't know the results of the village survey, but I know the village put out a survey asking for feedback regarding the need or the desire to have lifeguards stationed at Wyborg Beach. So,
Yeah, so the reason we put the survey out was because we've been hearing, all of us obviously live locally, and you get a lot of feedback when you're out in different places, stores, restaurants, and we were hearing a lot of yes, we were hearing a lot of no. So we decided it might be good to let the entire village chime in on it. And that's why we sent these surveys out. The surveys were due back today, and then we're going to tally everything and then have a presentation at the January board meeting, which is January 20th.
Okay. Well, I was told it was going to be today, so that's why I wanted to make sure I was here. But thank you so much for even letting me come up here. I see it's not on the agenda. But I guess I just would like to express my opinion. I did, get the survey. I was able to fill it out online. I felt like it was a kind of a short time frame for people to fill it out, November 14th to December 15th, just in case people weren't here, residents who are traveling, not here for the holidays. So maybe
we sent it to where everybody gets their tax bill.
Yeah.
So, assuming that you would, so we got quite a few responses, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it would just be amazing to send it on email because I find that my mail, if I get it
yeah, we
forwarded-
didn't do it on email because
Yeah.
we wanted to have an accurate count. So we're only accepting them back if they come back in the envelope that we sent it in,
Mhm.
and it's not a photocopy. So
Mhm.
we're trying to get an accurate count so that we have the most reliable information before we make a decision. So-
Right. Well, I guess I would also just I want to understand the difference between the health department and a real environmental review that really looks at, proximity to wetlands, the dunes, if you have pavement there, what's going to change if you have more people coming to the beach because there's a lifeguard. All of those things, to me, I feel like the environment, to have a real environmental review would be necessary. I mean, my opinion is, of course, to leave it untouched. The parking lot is a really bad situation there. There are often lines to get a spot. And as a resident, it's kind of unpleasant to do that. People get very angry in the parking lot. There's no system. And I just feel like, why do we need to bring more people there and make that accessible to, a lifeguard and bathrooms when there's a lot of people that I know that are very much in favor of leaving it untouched.
Well, that's why we were hearing the same thing. That's why we put the survey out, and let's see what the residents.
Yeah,
have
it's
to
just
say.
funny because a lot of people who I know who are residents somehow didn't either get the survey or they didn't, like myself, I was traveling for work in California. So I heard about it. I was able to call and get it on email, and she said she did count my vote, but yeah, so it's just kind of a problem, I think, sometimes.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see let's see how it comes back.
Thank you.
We're excited to see.
And also, could I just add in something? If you have, people are always welcome to email us too. And
well, that's what I finally called and spoke to Lorraine. But I also feel like there's some confusion about who can vote and not, even though I was saying, if you're a village resident, you can vote. One friend, she's like, oh, I'm registered to, I'm like, it's not a federal election. This is a survey in the
Right, it's a
village,
survey.
and
It's
you
not
own a
about-
home in the village and you pay taxes in the village. So,
but she can express her opinion through email, and we read all of that and take that into account.
and to what email? What?
Like if she goes onto Village Hall, she could, Sarah at easthamptonvillage.org. She can get all of our emails on the village
On the website. yeah.
website.
Okay, great.
But that's always helpful.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, and thanks for stepping up. All right, let's do this quickly. We had a walk-on resolution,
Okay.
and we're just trying to schedule it for a public hearing. It's about an easement at Spaeth Lane,
it's a road abandonment at the end of
road
Spaeth Lane.
abandonment at Spaeth Lane. So can I get a motion to put it on for public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed, and public hearing is scheduled. So let me get a motion to close the meeting and go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Passed and carried. And we're going to talk about legal. We got real estate, we got personnel. But I'd like to say to Mr. LTV over there, Mr. Matt Lowndes, his last day today. He got a really good job, apparently. So not that LTV is not a good job, but he got a job he really loves.
What is it?
No, yeah, thank you. I'll be working for Blue Wire Podcasts, a podcast company as a digital coordinator. But I just wanted to thank you guys, working with you guys and Jerry for hopping on and doing Ask the Mayor with me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to say, Matt, it's the show. Matt called me a while ago and asked me to be on the show, a show called Ask the Mayor, and he's the host. And he asked me to be on every week. And I said, Matt, I don't have anything to talk about every week. I said, let's do once a month. And believe it or not, we meet, and once a month it's over. It's a 30-minute show and it's over. It feels like it's over in 10 minutes. He is such a good person who does a great job interviewing, and he's very engaged and he knows exactly what he's talking about. He does a lot of research before you walk through the door. So all his questions are very, very well-researched, very relevant, and it was a very enjoyable show. And I'm going to miss.
Yeah, hopefully, as we talked, hopefully we'll still be able to do it every once in a while, big stuff, and we'll send it to LTV and still keep the show going.
Yeah, and our show is so much better than Ask the Supervisor.
I have
Come on.
zero comment on my end. Zero comment on my end.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Matt.
Yes,
Thank you for everything. All right. Our meeting is adjourned. And thank you all for coming. And have a great holiday, whatever you're celebrating.
Thank you.